steering it is broken down.
Formula 1 has arrived and is ready for the Singapore Grand Prix, and before we get into all of that, it's time to have a look at all of the news that has broken out over the past week. And as we can start things off then, it is with Ferrari, and they have been fined £300,000 for their actions against the FIA. Now, of course, Ferrari had launched an initial protest for an incorrect point system, the result from last season, and the FIA admitted to their wrongdoings, which would have just left the FIA looking silly and stupid. However, Ferrari went ahead and tried to mimic their point system in their favour to try and beat Mercedes in the championship. As if they got the 10 points that they were initially should have been awarded, they would have finished 4 points behind Mercedes. So they added 5 points to their total to try and clinch third in the championship, thus get more bonus money. But unfortunately, they got caught out doing it, and they have been fined £300,000 for their actions. Reese has spoken out regarding mental health issues. Now, Reese has been struggling a lot, we've heard, with some mental health problems, and it's mostly just been from the entire media with regards to everything that's being said towards him over the past few months. Now, we go back to the start to the end of last season, where of course the team and the media were basically saying that Reese was the main cause for George Russell's departure from the team, and that Reese was just not letting George get any form of rights, and Reese was the number one driver. And of course, before we found out Ferrari were involved in this problem via themselves with their own points issue, a lot of the blame went towards Mercedes and also Reese, because of course Reese is again their number one driver and has been heavily involved with the team, and it's just starting to catch on a little bit, and he's really been trying to open up about this and also open up just to any other people around the world as well, just to try and spread some awareness in there. Mason Wood has interestingly come out and believes that F1 is the hardest thing he's ever done. Now, of course, we know that Mason Wood has been a part of IndyCar and also NASCAR and has been a great success in all of those eras. But now, of course, it seems that F1 may have just topped all of that. Of course, Mason joining into Red Bull, and he says it's bloody hard. Fair play to him. Also, Williams are attracting a lot of sponsors after admitting it could U-turn with its F1 buyout. Now, of course, we know that Williams are looking to get the team sold after they got themselves in for pretty much nothing. In other words, it's free profit for Williams if they sold the team. But Williams said that they may potentially take a U-turn and try and regain some form with the classic branded team that we all know and love of Williams. And like I said, sponsors are interested. So if Williams can't sell the team and they're going to try and press onwards in Formula 1, they might just end up getting a couple of cheeky sponsors to help them out on their way. And now as we have a look at the race news for heading into this Grand Prix weekend, Ferrari, first of all, are happy with their pace after a very strong FP2. They were very, very poor in FP1 and had a lot of work to do, but in FP2 it all came together, and they're looking forward to the race weekend. Red Bull are looking to try and mix it up with Mercedes and McLaren. They've got some good pace around the bumps of Singapore, and they're very, very happy and look to try and challenge the top two teams. Jaguar are off the pace and are struggling, and it's mostly actually due to the bumps of Singapore. It seems Jaguar have actually found something wrong with their car, and it's the way that it's the stability with rougher track surfaces, like of course street tracks here in Singapore. It's not working out for them so well, and they now know that they've got a little bit of a weakness that they need to delve into. And McLaren were in a league of their own on Friday. They could not be touched by anybody else. Of course, the Saturday is expected to bring some wet weather, so that could mix it up. But of course, if anyone is going to be trying to beat McLaren, they're going to have to be right on top of their game if they're going to do it. But let's find out if anyone can beat McLaren, or if McLaren simply don't have the pace when it matters. Here we go. It's the Singapore Grand Prix. Yo, what's going on, guys? It is Foxy98 here, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the F1 Journey for you guys today here on the channel. Today we're here for Season 5, round number 6, I believe this is, for the Singapore Grand Prix, and we are getting straight underway with a very wet qualifying session. If you end up enjoying today's video, feel free to drop the video a like and also subscribe to the channel if you have not yet subscribed already. If you enjoy the content you do see on here, so it really does help me out and I really do appreciate it. And as you can see, we're in qualifying and we're getting a little bit wayward, just trying to push the boundaries of the circuit a little bit, and we overdid it on the exit there of Raffles Boulevard, and we have to basically just take to the escape road and spin ourselves around and go again. Yeah, obviously, if you haven't seen the last episode, spoilers coming up right now, we actually failed to score in Bahrain, so we're looking to try and bounce back after what was very much a messy Grand Prix. Although Singapore on 2018 especially is very, very notorious for its for high tire temperatures, so we really need to be careful of that as we get later on. Going then in towards the final piece of the lap, and again, I was about half a second up on my lap time, and I just couldn't hook it up together, and I ended up having to spin the car around. I actually bumped a bit of my front wing off in the end there, but we then went out for one more run, and it was just about time to flick over to the intermediate tyres. You can see that we're currently last on the grid, so we really need to make this lap time count. We're about 4.4 seconds up on our previous best lap time, and we crossed the start-finish line. And where's that going to put us then on our one and only last hurrah? It's the front row of the grid then, so it's second place for us today, and that is a beautiful qualifying session, all things considering. So we have a look at the starting grid then, and it was Sam that took the pole position, and it's a front row lockout for McLaren yet again for the second race running. Reese qualifies in third place, and ahead of him is, or behind him should I say, is Lando Norris. He lines up P4. Mason Wood then is in P5 with Devon Butler lining up 6th on the grid. Lewis Hamilton finishes in P7 with Nico Hulkenberg impressing in 8th place for Jaguar. 9th place is Valtteri Bottas, even more impressive for the Williams car, who's working well around Singapore, with George Russell in P10, Daniel Ricciardo 11th for the Renault, with Pierre Gasly 12th for Ford. 13th is going to be Max Verstappen with Esteban Ocon on the same row. We've seen them have some history in the past. Will they have it again here today? Lucas Weber in P15 for Williams, with Carlos Sainz in P16 for Ford. 17th and 18th is going to be Pascal Wehrlein and Nico Rosberg. And the shock of the grid, Ferrari line up on the back row. They didn't get the tyres sorted when they needed to. They didn't push on the inters when they had to, and they got it all wrong. So they line up last. Now, for us though, last time we did this, we did the one-stop strategy and it was a complete catastrophe. Today, we're going to try the two-stop strategy as we go onto the grid then, ready for the start of the Grand Prix. We've got 5 red lights then, and let's see if lights out. We go here to start the Singapore Grand Prix. It's a good start off the front row there, and I think we've got a better start than our teammate Sam. We do get a better start than Sam. We go up the inside of him, and we instantly take the lead of the Singapore Grand Prix, and it's literally a complete role reversal of Bahrain, where Sam got the lead in towards turn 1 when I was on pole position. We've got the lead on Sam when he was on pole position, and now as you can see, we're going down onto the straight then towards Raffles Boulevard, and it is myself leading the Grand Prix with Sam in second place. Reese following along very closely behind in third with one of the Red Bulls there in P4. Reese having a look at Sam in towards Raffles, but it doesn't work out on that occasion there. Hamilton there has got a good start. He's in front of Butler as Russell gets his way past the Williams car. On to lap 3 of the Grand Prix now. And the tyre temperature issue is already coming into effect. We are struggling a little bit here, and crucially, Sam is on the ultra soft tyres behind me, and he's all over my rear wing right now. So we go on to the start-finish straight then. Sam with the DRS wide open. You can see that we are starting to pull out a little bit of an advantage here. Sam now pulls over towards the inside line. I didn't think he'd go for it initially, but we go side by side here, but we go in a little bit too deep in towards turn 3 there, and Sam does take the position off of us and takes the lead of the Singapore Grand Prix. And with him being on the ultra soft tyres, that's a crucial overtake for him to have. We go a little bit wide though in towards turn 4. We've got the DRS though, so let's see if we can try and get back out of our teammate here and try and re-overtake him. But as we go towards Raffles Boulevard, we're just a little bit too far back here. We could try and dive it, but we're just not close enough. Sam actually does a good job of faking over to defend the inside line there. Sam leads the Singapore Grand Prix, and he's now off into the distance. Lap 6 of the Grand Prix now, and Reese is trying to get onto the back of the scene. You can see that Sam has flown off into the distance, gap 3.7 seconds. He's flying at the moment. We get a very rough exit there, and Reese will try and take advantage of that. Breaks a little bit later, goes for a very bold overtake through there, but it doesn't work out for him, and he has to just wait as we now try and make our way towards the old Singapore sling section and maintain our position against Reese. But you can see on the minimap there that Sam is absolutely flying off into the distance, but even though I'm fighting hard against Reese, I'm still struggling with my tyres. You can really see how I'm just not able to get the turn in all of these corners, but we're still pulling away quite nicely. The crucial thing that I've done in this Grand Prix is I'm actually going to pit for my stop one lap earlier than expected here, as Reese now gets a much better run across the bridge than we do. He's going to go towards the outside line and try and make an overtake stick here, but we defend the inside line, and Reese will have to back out very close to the wall there, and we just about stay in front of Reese there. But as I was just saying, as you can see, I got that corner horribly wrong. I was really struggling just to manage the tyres, but what I've done differently, obviously, which is why we're not falling down the order as quickly in this race, is that I made my setup a lot better suited for this circuit. Of course, when we were in the Red Bull, not only did we have bad straight line speed anyway, but we made the setup we went the complete wrong way with the setup. This time around, we've gone a different format, and we've actually put a lot of much lower wings on than we did last time around, and it's definitely helping out this season. But we're coming into the pits now for our first of 2 stops. Crucially, this time around, obviously, when we were on the ultra soft tyres and we were struggling for pace, of course, we were struggling for so long that we just lost so much time. This time around, I've only had to do 6 laps on the ultra soft and the hyper soft tyres, sorry. So even if these ultra softs wear off later into the race, at least I get to pit for another set of ultra softs, and at least I'm still marginally quick. So theoretically, the tyre wear is really causing me problems, but it's not as dramatic as it could be. So that's something that we have to keep in mind as we rejoin now in 16th place here. We've got the 2 Ferraris ahead of Leclerc and Noah going into battle, then in towards Raffles Boulevard. They go, and there's some contact there, and that's Noah going spinning around. Charles Leclerc carries on his way, but Noah James has gone round, and that is him literally relegated very, very far. And you'll be able to see in just a second, there I go, just coming out of the pits there, passing Noah James. What an awful piece of stuff there from Ferrari. They're already having a nightmare Grand Prix, and they've gone ahead and just caused a massive a collision, which was completely unnecessary. And Leclerc now is on the back of Lucas Weber here. We are on the back of Charles Leclerc, and you can see here that we've got much better straight line speed over the Ferrari, and we've got more grip on our fresh ultra soft tyres. Those ultra soft tyres on Leclerc are slightly more worn, and we're going to go down the inside here on Charles, catch him by surprise, and we make the overtake stick, and now we can get onto the back of Lucas Weber and hopefully pass him nice and quickly. I don't want to be held up behind the Williams car for too long, although annoyingly, I think we're going to get held up for the entirety of this final sector, which is a bit of a pain for us, because I would have liked to have used my fresh tyres to bolt away in this final sector. I'm still in the race with the Red Bull and also Reese in the Mercedes as well. Don't forget him. He was on the Hypersoft tyres as well. So if Reese is going to have anything to say about this Grand Prix, it's going to be now as we go through the last 2 corners. Now we've got the DRS on Lucas Weber, and yeah, we annoyingly did get stuck behind him, but we do manage to breeze past him and going through past the Williams driver. And that is us up into, I believe, 8th place or something like that. I'm not really sure where he rejoined. Oh, I was right. Nice one. Now we're going a little bit further back here, and we've got a scrap going on between the Porsche car of Nico Rosberg, the Renault car of Esteban Ocon, and the 2 Ford drivers of Sainz, who's in front of Gasly's. Ocon here tries to go around the outside of Rosberg into 1, 2, and 3. It won't work out for him, but he just about squeezes his way around the outside there. So some lovely driving from Esteban Ocon. He'll have the inside line now, and he gets the overtake done. Beautiful move there from Esteban Ocon, but as they make the charge down Raffles Boulevard, this is where Rosberg is going to have the DRS to come back at Ocon now. So Ocon doing all of that. Now Rosberg is going to go towards the outside line here. He should be able to make the overtake stick, but Ocon will try and hold it on in there, and he literally gives Rosberg a nice good old shove. Rosberg just sticks his front wing in there. It'll get him further alongside, but unfortunately he has to concede the place. Ocon with some good driving there to pass him, and now we're on board here with Carlos Sainz, who is in front of a little bit of a queue of cars here, and it's Rosberg. So Sainz got past Rosberg in there. You can see Ocon has shot off into the distance because he's nowhere to be seen. He's literally not even on the mini-map. It's not even on the camera shot from just a little bit further away there. So he's completely gone into a world of his own. But these two are having a great old scrap here between these two. And Rosberg shoving Sainz very wide up against the wall now. The Porsche car looks like he's got a little bit more straight line speed, which he can use there. Gasly, though, is going to sneak up the inside line and towards the Singapore sling on his teammate Sainz there. So Gasly trying to get a bit inventive as they now go through towards the bridge section here. And it's going to be Gasly with that inside line. He'll hold it there against his teammate. A lovely improvisation from Pierre Gasly. He makes the overtake stick, and Rosberg can blast on his way. Gasly goes on through, but Sainz now is under pressure here from Charles Leclerc as they go through in towards the right hand. Leclerc there trying to shove his way past Carlos Sainz, but as they come on through, oh, it's a huge crash there. Huge crash for Carlos Sainz, and now Noah James has gone into the back of him as well. That was a massive crash there, and even I think that Pascal Wehrlein has got caught up in all of the melee there. That's a massive crash there between the 4 drivers and the Ferraris there. And we're going to have a look at it now here on board with Sainz first of all. So as he goes on through here, Leclerc's just got the better run, and Leclerc just puts him straight into the wall, just doesn't give him any space there. And Noah just goes ploughing into the back of him, and that wipes out Noah from the Grand Prix as well in all of that fight. This is on board with the Williams car behind here, and you could just see he took some damage. I think Leclerc took some damage as well. We're going to have a look on board with Charles Leclerc now, and we don't take on board with Charles Leclerc, but that was a huge crash there, and that really cost them a crucial amount of time as we now go through on board with us here as we go a little bit wide, trying to come into the pits, and this is our second stop now for a set of the ultra soft tyres to take us to the end of the Grand Prix. Sam, meanwhile, is in a complete world of his own. Like, I cannot touch his race pace here today. This is his Grand Prix to lose for the second race in a row, and he lost it in Bahrain. This time around, hopefully he doesn't lose it for the sake of, well, the team, obviously. But as we're coming out of the pits now, let's see where we rejoin and what we've got to do in terms of fighting back up the order then. So as we come out of the pits now, hopefully it shouldn't be too far down the order. I felt a little bit more comfortable on the ultra soft tyres. We're in 8th place, and we've got a lot of cars that are on the soft tyres and a few cars that need to stop as well. So we should be in about 6th or 5th place by the end of this. Now as we go on board here with one of the Williams cars going around the outside of Esteban Ocon, it should really be Lucas Weber attacking Ocon, and he's going to do so now as they go towards the inside line here. Ocon will try and hold this one here, the Williams car giving a little bit of a nudge, but Ocon really doesn't want to let this one go as he goes around the down the inside even in fact here. But it's going to be a better exit for the Williams driver as they go down the straight now in towards the Singapore Sling and the Padang Grandstand. Let's see if he can try and make it stick. Just about gets in there. Fair play to the Williams driver there. I think that might be Bottas actually. Makes the overtake stick. So on to lap 20 of the Grand Prix now. Confirmation we're in 6th place, and now we're going for 5th place Hulkenberg. So let's get on with it then. We set a personal best lap as we now go for the overtake here towards the outside line of the first corner, going around the outside there of Nico Hulkenberg and making the overtake stick. We're up into 4th place now as another car has just come into the pits for his stop. And up the road then is Lewis Hamilton and also Mason Wood. So we're going to try and close them down. We've got 11 laps to do so here. And further back here, we've got Lando Norris who's making his way past Nico Hulkenberg. So myself, Reese and Lando Norris are all on this 2-stop strategy, whereas Sam, Hamilton, Mason Woods and Nico Hulkenberg are on the 1-stop strategy. So a lot of split strategies going on here today at Singapore, and we're trying to see which one is working out in the best format as Reese makes his way through past Nico Hulkenberg, and now Devon Butler is going to make his way past Nico Hulkenberg. So for Hulkenberg's sake, the 1-stop strategy hasn't worked. He's been overtaken now by myself, he's been overtaken by Norris, overtaken by Reese, and now he's about to get overtaken by Devon Butler. And you can see here, goes down the inside. It makes it a little bit more harder for Devon Butler to make this overtake stick, because Hulkenberg really doesn't want to give this one up without a fight. But Butler here with fresh soft, ultra soft tyres gets better traction now as we go in towards the Singapore Sling here. He's a little bit in front of Nico Hulkenberg, and he can just carry the speed around the outside there to make the overtake stick in his format. Lap 25 of the Grand Prix now, and we've closed up to the back of Lewis Hamilton here quite drastically actually. The pace was rapid on this final set of ultra soft tyres. Now we've got the DRS in our favour. Hamilton again is going to go towards the outside line, but we're going to take the inside line in towards the first corner, go a little bit deep into turn 1, but it's alright. And a little bit of a yellow flag in behind. I think Hamilton locked up actually and went wide. He did there, so lost him some time. Now we've got Mason Wood just up ahead and onto the end of lap 26 to start lap 27. We're now onto the back of Mason Wood for 2nd place in this Grand Prix as we open up the DRS here to catch up to Mason now. 0.4 per second is the gap. Are we close enough in towards turn 1? Not quite, but that's okay because we've got the run down Raffles Boulevard, which we can get him, and obviously I can turn up the engine modes to really make the overtake stick, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We've been saving up all of my battery and some fuel to make my attack on these drivers. So now, as you can see here, I'm even going to stick it to overtake. And in fact, as you'll be able to see right now, really didn't need to. And a complete stark contrast to last season where I was getting mugged off in a straight line. This time I can mug people off in a straight line. And Sam there is a good 28 seconds up the road, just showing his true speed there as we managed to get in front of him. But now onto the last lap here. And as you can see, Sam has come across the line to take his first win of Season 5 and his first win as the defending Formula 1 World Champion. But for the team though, it is the perfect possible race under the lights in Singapore. It's across the line for 2nd place, and it's a 1-2 for McLaren. And like I said, we couldn't have asked for a perfect race for the team. And yeah, really happy to come across the line in 2nd place there and cement what was a dominant weekend for McLaren. Sam takes the race victory by half a minute over myself, so credit to Sam. Much better performance from him today. We come across the line in 2nd place there for our team, and obviously picking up a good amount of points. Mason Wood finishes off in P3 for Red Bull, so his one-stop strategy worked well in his favour. Also, before you guys mention it, I can see on the points thing that it says Sam has 26 points. I can tell you that on the championship standings, I didn't add that extra point. Basically, the last race in Bahrain, Reese won the race and got fastest lap, so I put the extra point for him there, and I forgot to change it. Don't panic, it's not been added. Lando Norris finishes in P4 for Red Bull, and it was quite a disappointing day for Mercedes. Hamilton in P5 and Reese only down in P6. Of course, Reese was right on the back of me earlier on on in the race, but he just didn't get the strategy right, and Red Bull obviously managed to beat them here today. Devon Butler finishes in P7 for Audi, a good race for him. He also did the 2-stop strategy as well. Hulkenberg tried the 1-stop in P8, but it just didn't work out in the end. George Russell finishing in P9 for Audi, and then fair play to Valtteri Bottas, picking up a .4 Williams and finishing in P10. Overall, he had an absolutely stellar weekend, and he could be very, very proud of what he's managed to achieve there. Looking at the second half of the table then, Pierre Gasly misses out on some points. He finished in 11th place for Ford. Esteban Ocon in P12 for Renault. Definitely a tough weekend for Renault. P13 for Nico Rosberg. Verstappen in P14. It was a bad weekend for Max in general. Lucas Weber in P15 ahead of Pascal Wehrlein in P16. Ferrari having an absolutely horrible weekend. Charles Leclerc in P17. Noah James DNFing from the Grand Prix. Both Ferraris qualified on the back row. Both Ferraris collided in the race, and then with each other, and then they were both involved in the same accident with the Ford drivers. Just wasn't a good weekend. Sainz, of course, P19, we saw what happened to him, and then Daniel Ricciardo also failed to finish in this Grand Prix. With that being said, then we're going to go and have a look at the Drivers' Championship and see how things have changed over there. So at the top of the championship, we are on 113 points and are in front of Reese now, who is on 84 points for Mercedes, with Sam on 81 points, very close now to Reese after his first race victory. Lewis Hamilton is fourth in the championship on 78 points, with the two Red Bulls of Mason Wood and Lando Norris on 45 and 39 points. Charles Leclerc is on 34 points for Ferrari, with George Russell on 29 points for Audi, Verstappen on 28 points for Jaguar, and then Noah James on 27 points for Ferrari. And then as we have a look at the Constructors' Championship, then McLaren have got a 32-point lead over Mercedes. They're on 194 points, with Mercedes on 162. Red Bull are on 84 points, with Ferrari on 61. Jaguar and Audi tied together on 35 points now, after a better weekend for Audi compared to Jaguar. Renault are on 25 points. Ford remain on 10 points, with Porsche still on 4 points, and then Williams picking up their first point of the season. And with all of that done and dusted, we're going to have a look at the post-race notebook and see what the teams and drivers had to say after this Grand Prix weekend. And we're starting things off with Sam then, who has been praised by many for such a dominant performance this weekend. He managed to get pole position in the wet weather conditions. Despite losing the race lead at the lights out to Tom, he was able to stick with him and breeze past Tom on lap 3, and then managed to just pull away comfortably and have one of the most simplest races he could ever wish for. Tom, meanwhile, is unsure how he actually managed to get P2 after major tyre temp problems throughout the entirety of the Grand Prix. We saw that early on in the Grand Prix he was struggling a lot on his hypersoft tyres, but he said on every single stint that he had, he once again suffered with major overheating and just couldn't get it all together, and is very happy to have got to where he did. Ferrari have been questioned by many after an absolutely horrendous weekend. Ferrari, as we saw, didn't get the time right on the qualifying session on the intermediate tyres, started on the back row of the grid. They then crashed with each other, causing Noah James to spin out and then have to restart his car again. And then Charles Leclerc crashed with Carlos Sainz, and then Noah James went into the back of Sainz and caused a pile-up there, and both were out of the race. No points, and P17 for Leclerc. It was an awful weekend, and they've got some answers to find after what happened. Reese is angry after Lewis Hamilton refused to let him pass on fresh tyres. Now, if we remember, the race at the end was between Tom, Lando Norris, and also Reese. They were all going for the two-stop strategy and were carving their way through the field. Tom managed to pass Hamilton quite easily. Reese managed to also get past Nico Hulkenberg, but not past his own teammates. Whereas Lando Norris got past Hamilton, got past Hulkenberg, but didn't get past his own teammate. He couldn't get there in the end. But Reese was not let through by Lewis Hamilton at all. Hamilton was fending him off, and Reese is very confused on why. And he's out looking for some answers himself after what was a difficult race weekend. But that's going to be it, guys, for this episode. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you have, feel free to drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here as well. Next up, we are off to Azerbaijan for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and we will see you guys there. Take care all.